I am speaking to you today because the American people deserve to know why the security clearances of the former administration me own included were suddenly and violently revoked. They told you it was about national security. They told you it was about protecting the state, but I am here to tell you that is a lie. The reality is that Donald Trump faces immediate legal jeopardy, and the panic you see in the White House, the frantic purging of political opponents, is happening because a Senate hearing just exposed the single greatest financial crime in the history of the presidency. We are talking about $200 million, perhaps as much as $500 million funneled not into the United States Treasury to help the American people, but into a shadowy offshore account in Qatar. Do not look away because this is the moment the mask fell off. You need to understand the gravity of what took place on January 28th. The media is trying to soften the blow, but the transcript does not lie. Secretary of State Marco Rubio sat before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and under oath, he was forced to admit that the proceeds from the Venezuelan oil seizure soil that was taken by United States military assets were not deposited into the Department of the Treasury. Instead, Secretary Rubio admitted that these sovereign funds were moved into what he called a blocked account in Doha, Qatar. They want you to believe this is standard procedure. They want you to believe this is just a logistical necessity. But I am telling you, as a former prosecutor and as your former vice president, there is absolutely nothing standard about bypassing the United States Congress to stash $500 million in a foreign monarchy that just gifted the Trump administration a $400 million Boeing 747. This is why they stripped my security clearance. This is why they are threatening to arrest members of the opposition. It is not because we are a threat to the country. It is because we are the witnesses to a robbery in progress. You have to ask yourself the question, why Qatar? Why move American-seized assets to the Gulf? The answer lies in a web of corruption that connects the Oval Office to the most dangerous tech oligarchs in Silicon Valley and the dark money of the Middle East. We know that the Trump family has been aggressively pushing World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency venture that has struggled to find legitimate backing. Now, we have evidence suggesting that this offshore account in Qatar is acting as a liquidity backstop for their private financial interests. They are using the power of the American military to seize assets and then using those assets to prop up a digital currency scam that benefits one family and one family only. Do not let them distract you with the noise. This is the blueprint of a dictatorship. When a president can generate revenue independently of Congress, when he can seize foreign wealth and hide it in an offshore jurisdiction where United States auditors cannot touch eye, then no longer answers to the people. He no longer needs the Appropriations Committee. He has built a shadow treasury. This is what the Genius Act is really about. You have heard Donald Trump talk about freedom in cryptocurrency. You have heard him ban the Federal Reserve from creating a digital dollar. That is not about freedom. That is about creating a vacuum that his private stablecoins can fill, backed by the very oil money he is hiding in the Middle East. It is a closed loop of corruption, and it is happening right in front of our faces. The Senate hearing exposed the mechanism, but the implications are far more terrifying. We are seeing a merger between the Trump White House and a consortium of tech oligarchs who have abandoned all pretense of democracy. Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the executives at Anduril Industries are not just contractors, they are the architects of the new regime. We have learned that in exchange for Qatar acting as the banker for this shadow treasury, the Trump administration is providing them with advanced surveillance technology that is also being deployed in the so-called freedom cities in Venezuela. These are not cities of freedom. They are testing grounds for a surveillance state where your digital identity, your financial access, and your physical movement are tracked by artificial intelligence systems owned by the very donors who put Donald Trump back in power. This is the danger that they do not want me to speak about. This is why they are threatening arrest. Because when you follow the money, it leads directly to a violation of the emoluments clause so severe that it makes every previous scandal look like a misdemeanor. Donald Trump is not just failing to divest, he is actively using the presidency as a venture capital firm. The $200 million in that Qatar account is the seed money for a parallel government tone that is funded by seized oil, managed by unaccountable tech billionaires, and protected by a weaponized Department of Justice that is currently hunting down anyone who dares to speak the truth. You must understand that this is not politics as usual. This is a hostile takeover of the United States government. When Secretary Rubio claimed that the money was in a blocked account, he was trying to hide the fact that the United States Congress has zero visibility into how those funds are being leveraged. We have intelligence. They tried to wipe when they revoked our clearances, indicating that these funds are being commingled with private equity deals involving the Kushner family and the Trump organization. They are laundering sovereign assets through a foreign ally to evade United States law. If this is not an arrestable offense, if this is not high crimes and misdemeanors, then the rule of law in this country has ceased to exist. The Republicans in the Senate are trying to bury this. They are trying to turn narrative around and say that the seizure of Venezuelan oil was a victory for American strength. But since when is it American strength to act like a pirate state? Since when is it American strength to steal resources and hide the loot in the Middle East? They are counting on you being too tired to care. They are counting on the media cycle moving too fast for you to connect the dots. But you must stay focused. The reason they are attacking me, the reason they are attacking the legacy of the Biden-Harris administration, is because we are the only ones standing between them and total impunity. Let us look at the Genius Act again. This legislation was sold to you as a way to protect American innovation. But in reality, it is a surrender of American monetary sovereignty. By banning a central bank digital currency, Donald Trump has ensured that the only digital dollars available to you will be those issued by private corporations that are beholden to him. And now we know that the collateral for these private currencies is likely sitting in a bank in Doha, derived from a military raid that he ordered. It is a scheme to privatize the United States dollar. It is a scheme to ensure that if you oppose him, he can debank you, he can freeze your assets, and he can do it without a warrant because the entire financial system will be owned by his cronies. They want you to think that the arrest headlines are just partisan warfare. They want you to think it is just the deep state attacking Trump. That is the lie they use to cover their crimes. The reason Trump faces arrest is trending is because there are still patriots in the Department of Justice, men and women, who have not yet been purged, who see this for what it is, money laundering on a global scale. The timeline is undeniable. The raid happened on January 3rd. The executive order seizing the assets happened on January 20th. And the deposit into the Qatari account happened days before the Genius Act was signed. It is a coordinated conspiracy to dismantle the financial safeguards of this republic. I cannot emphasize enough how dangerous this moment is. We are witnessing the creation of a system where the president is also the central banker, where the military is a collection agency, and where the intelligence apparatus is a private security force for the ruling party. When they took my security clearance, they thought they were cutting off my access to information, but they forgot that the truth has a way of coming out. The Senate hearing was just the first crack in the dam. We now know about the $200 million. We know about the Qatar connection. We know about the surveillance contracts. You need to ask yourself, who is actually in charge? Is it the people, or is it a cabal of tech billionaires and foreign princes who have bought shares in the presidency? The freedom cities they are building in Venezuela are a warning. They are pilot programs for what they want to do. Here, they want to replace your local government with corporate governance. They want to replace your police with private security contractors. And they want to replace your dollar with a crypto token that they control. And the funding for all of this is coming from the very account that was exposed in the Senate yesterday. The Republican Party is silent because they are complicit. They have traded their constitutional duty of oversight for a seat at the table. They are allowing the executive branch to operate a slush fund that rivals the GDP of some nations. This is why they are desperate to silence us. This is why the rhetoric against me has become so violent and so extreme. They know that if the American people truly understood the scale of this theft, if you truly understood that your military is being used to secure assets for a private crypto scam, their entire administration would collapse overnight. We cannot let them normalize this. We cannot let them tell us that holding the president accountable is treason. The real treason is betraying the public trust for personal profit. The real treason is handing over the keys to our financial system to a foreign power. The real treason is dismantling the checks and balances that have kept this nation free for 250 years. The existence of that offshore account in Qatar is a smoking gun that no amount of spin can wipe away. It proves intent, it proves coordination, and it proves that the corruption goes all the way to the top. I am calling on every American who believes in the rule of law to demand answers. Do not accept national security as an excuse for financial crimes. Do not accept executive privilege as a shield for money laundering. We need to know who controls the signatories on that account. We need to know the exact terms of the deal with the Qatari government. And we need to know how much of that money has already been moved into the coffers of World Liberty Financial. The Senate hearing gave us a glimpse, but we need to kick down the door. They think they can arrest their way out of this problem. They think that if they put me in handcuffs or if they threaten the press, the story will go away. But they are wrong. The facts are on the record. The money trail has been found, and the American people are waking up to the reality that they have been sold out. This is not about Republican versus Democrat anymore. This is about the survival of the Republic versus a criminal enterprise that has hijacked the White House. We will not be silenced, we will not be intimidated, and we will not stop until the full truth of this $200 million betrayal is laid bare for the world to see. They can take our clearances, but they cannot take our voice, and they cannot hide the truth forever. The clock is ticking on this administration, and they know it. That is why they are panicked. That is why they are lashing out. And that is why you must stay vigilant. You must stay informed, and you must not let them rewrite history. The arrest that matters is not the one they are threatening against their political enemies. It is the one that justice demands for those who have stolen the wealth and the honor of this nation. Consider the role of the tech oligarchs in this equation. It is not a coincidence that the same people pushing for the Genius Act are the same people bidding on the contracts to manage the Venezuelan oil infrastructure. It is a vertically integrated monopoly of power. They seize the asset, they process the transaction, and they provide the security while taking a cut at every step. And the American taxpayer, you get nothing. You get inflation. You get a devalued currency. And you get a government that tracks your every move to ensure you do not complain about it. This is the grim reality of the Trump faces arrest headline. It is not sensationalism. It is the inevitable conclusion of a presidency that operates like a crime syndicate. The offshore account is the evidence. The Senate hearing was the indictment. And now, the American people must be the jury. Do not let them get away with it. Do not let them turn the United States into a subsidiary of their business empire. The fight for our democracy is happening right now in the details of bank transfers and government contracts. It is not glamorous, but it is the battle that will decide our future. We are standing at a precipice. If we allow the president to establish a financial stronghold in Qatar, completely independent of congressional oversight, we have crossed the line from a republic to an autocracy. It is that simple. The power of the purse is the primary check on executive tyranny. If that power is broken, if the president can fund his own agenda through foreign seizures and offshore banking, then there is no limit to what he can do. He can fund private armies. He can bail out his own failing businesses. He can buy loyalty and punish dissent. This is the stakes of the revelation that came out of the Senate hearing. So when you see the attacks on me, when you see the threats of arrest, remember what they are really trying to hide. They're trying to hide the money. They're trying to hide the Qatar connection. And they are trying to hide the fact that they have sold your future for a quick profit. We see it. We know it. And we will not let it stand. The truth is our only weapon, and it is a weapon they are terrified of. Keep your eyes open, keep asking questions, and never forget that in this country, no one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.